If you're looking to purchase a new chair, there are a number of key points that it's important to consider. The most important thing is that the chair's dimensions match yours as an individual. There are 3 key dimensions that you need to consider. The height of the chair that you purchase should be such that the ankles are at 90 degrees, your knees are at 90 degrees, and your hips are at 90 degrees. And that's when you're sitting in your normal indoor slippers. If the chair is the correct height, and that's when you're sitting in your normal indoor slippers. And they're not raised and inclined, which would mean the chair is too high. If the chair is too low, your thigh bones may be tipped backwards, which means more pressure is going on your buttocks. Looking at the next measurement, the depth of the chair should be deep enough that it gives support along the whole of your thigh bone, but you do not want the upholstery pressing into the back of the calf muscles. Ideally, the measurement from the back of the chair to the front of the chair should be such that there's a hand's width between the front of the upholstery and the back of your calf muscle. That prevents any pressure from building up on the back of the calves while you're sitting in the chair. The last dimension to consider is the width of the chair. Now, it's important again that the chair is not too small so that the pressure does not happen on your hips, but equally the chair mustn't be too wide so that you're having to really sit with your elbows out like this. If the chair has filled-in sides, you have a hand's width again between the side of the chair and the hip. You need that so that there is no pressure on the hips. But you may already have a chair which has the correct dimensions in terms of width and depth, but is perhaps a bit low. Be they dining room chairs, fireside chairs, settees or armchairs. Be aware that there are a number of chair raisers that can be purchased to raise your favourite chair up to the correct height, as we've just discussed. The chair I'm now sat in is an example of a riser recliner chair. Riser recliner chairs can have many benefits for different people. One of the benefits is that if you are struggling to get out of the chair, by using the handset and pressing the buttons, the chair will rise up and will assist you to get out. If I just show you how that happens, it isn't a sudden movement, it's a slow, controlled movement. Some people express fear that they're going to be tipped out of the chair, but actually that won't happen. You just need to take the chair probably 3-4 inches high, so that it then gives you the opportunity to push up and stand up. Another advantage of the chair is that you can put your feet up. So I'm going to just take myself back down. I'm pressing the other button, and in a minute I'm back to the natural sitting position. And if I hold my finger on the button, now the leg rest will come out. This obviously is lovely for an afternoon siesta and is really important if someone has perhaps slightly swollen ankles. By having your feet elevated, as you can see, above my hips, then it will help with the return of the fluid. I'm now feeling very comfortable in a slightly reclined position. However, I can still sit and have a conversation with my family members, I can still watch the television, I can still read my book. And if I fancy a doze, I can just close my eyes and go back to sleep. When choosing a riser recliner chair, there are a number of options for you to select. The first is the style of the back of the chair. We have here an example of a riser recliner chair with what's known as a waterfall back. That is 3 cushions placed underneath each other. Now, the advantages of a waterfall back is that it is adaptable. If we look at the top cushion, for example, there is a zip that goes right along. The beauty is that if someone requires more support, possibly in the lumbar spine area, you could undo the zip in this cushion and put more stuffing in to give a firmer finish. If the person finds that the top cushion is pushing their head forward, you can take stuffing out. If someone has a slight curvature of the spine, you could remove stuffing from these two to accommodate that curve. So a waterfall back is very flexible, and it allows people to change the posture and their support over their lifetime if they need to. There are a number of other styles of back available. You can have a button back, you can have a back with wings. It really is your choice. Moving on, it's then important to consider whether the person needs any pressure care in the seat of the chair. Now, it is possible if someone has delicate or vulnerable skin to actually have pressure care put in under the wrap of the chair. So that's an important thing to consider. People say, oh, will I put my pressure care cushion on top of the chair? Which I understand why people do that, but what's going to happen then is that you're going to raise the height of the chair, the armrests are going to become a bit low, and the back is going to be in the wrong position. So if it can be avoided, then that's a good thing to do. One dimension that needs to be considered with a riser recliner chair is the length of the footboard. If this chair had been measured for me and was the correct size, my ankles would line up with the end of the footboard. This chair is a little bit small for my 6 foot height, and you can see my feet dangle off the end. So what we're looking for is the heels to be off the end of the footboard, so there's no pressure, but we're looking for the ankles and the footboard to line up so that I have support all the way along my leg. Finally, the last choice for you to select is perhaps the most fun. It's the material that you would like on your chair. One final tip. I know we've talked about the beauty of the chair being able to lift you up if you're struggling, and I appreciate that's a really important thing, perhaps at the end of a day when you're feeling tired or you've had a bad day. However, the physiotherapists ourselves would always say, try not to use the riser function too much. Try to use your muscles or lose them.